one-two punch for the PowerApps awesomeness here. So you can, with PowerApps, build low-code or no-code applications very, very quickly. This is a very broad and deep platform that is part of the Power Platform, which allows us to make things pretty quick. So, a couple new features to talk about. We've got AI Builder preview models are now generally available. So it's funny they call them preview models now that they're generally available. We probably should call them AI Builder models now that they're generally available. But anyway, that happened just recently. We also got a suite of new COVID response template apps for healthcare workers and companies. So in fact, we're going to talk about this in a minute, but if COVID's impacting you at all, that should be pretty much everybody, then there's an app for that. So moving on. Let's see here, what do I want to talk about? Cool, so AI Builder Preview, which we're just going to call AI Builder models. So these are super cool. Let's say you've got a text file, or let me back up. Let's say you're a teacher and your students are filling out their a test form, or you've printed out a page and they are filling out their answers. You can now take a picture of that, or a picture of a handwritten invoice, or a picture of whatever you need, and extract the text from that document. This is the text recognition model we're talking about. Additionally, if you've got a lot of text, we can extract the key phrases or the sentiment for that text within PowerApps. We've also got object detection. Microsoft did a pretty cool demo of this that Coca-Cola is using. Oh, not the same people, right? Sorry, all you lovers of Coke. And they go into grocery stores and they take pictures of the locations where their different products are. It extracts from that picture how many objects are in that picture and what product. And then they also use geospatial recognition to recognize where they are in the store, so they can see where things are being pulled off the shelves faster in certain areas without having to count them. Pretty cool. So those are now available in PowerApps, generally available, rather. And if you are like the most of the world right now and you're being impacted by COVID, there are a number of new applications that we can help you implement pretty quick that will help you manage your response to COVID. Microsoft especially, this is the cool part, Microsoft is trying to help people get that done and are offering some additional funds to help implement COVID-related responses within PowerApps. So if you've got questions about how you can have Microsoft pay for a COVID project for you, you should reach out. We'll talk about it. And lastly, this is already a thing available in Dynamics 365, but newly available within PowerApps, newly available on preview. You can now add some virtual reality or mixed augmented reality, there we go, within your Power App. So if you wanted to see what that super cool forklift looks like in your warehouse, you could just pick up your Power App, point it there, and then you've got a good picture. So that's PowerApps. PowerApps and Power Portals. You want to talk about this?
Yeah, so previously there was Microsoft CRM portals, and they were not very easy to use. They were pretty difficult to administer, and Microsoft, I think, finally realized that and now have moved it over to the PowerApps portion of the Power Platform. I think the main things for those of you that have experienced the prior pain with CRM portals and are now, considering if you want to update your program to go over to PowerApps, these are the highlights. Simplified theme and designer, meaning it's much closer to a traditional drag and drop. The elements are easier to control. It's easy to add things. Oh, and by the way, they've got good templates to start from. Power BI can also be embedded. So if it's available to be shared, then you can have embedded Power BI content. The security now is done through the PowerApps admin. So no longer having to worry about all these web roles that you're having to basically recreate the entire security role structure. You can now administrate that through the PowerApps console and that administrative protocol. Lastly, and probably most importantly, is that now instead of having to go through 7 clicks to get a page set up that links to the entities and all those things, you can actually have your development team use web APIs to go through and say, hey, I'd like to make sure that we can, call this to, either create records or create content and controls. So very cool updates. I encourage you to go in, start playing around with PowerApps portals if you haven't. Their pricing is meant to be competitive for, the small to medium-sized business and for, tracking both, we'll call it signed in or anonymous visits, and is not just that traditional flat fee that they used to charge for CRM portals. Very cool content and a great addition to the PowerApps portion of the Power Platform.